What time is it? It's time for another Every Other Wednesday.
Hey, good morning, everyone. Michael Kerr here. It's another Every Other Wednesday. Welcome to Every Other Wednesday. It is Wednesday, May 17th, 2023. In case you were wondering what year it is, I am coming to you today from a very smoky Canmore, Alberta in the Canadian Rockies. I speak about inspiring workplace cultures, inspiring leadership and humor in the workplace. And I'm the author of The Humor Advantage and The Jerk-Free Workplace, amongst other books. And over to either my left or my right is
actually
the one and only Sunjay Nath.
It could be top and bottom too, so don't be prejudiced. Depending on how people have it set up, it's. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Sunjay Nath. I am coming to you from just outside of Toronto in Oakville, Ontario. I am a speaker and author speaking on leadership and performance, known by the trademark, the 10-80-10 principle. We want to say thank you to everyone for joining us. A quick TSA. Again, on the text, if you are writing something in the chat box, please make sure it defaults to everyone and not just the panelists, so we can all share in everyone's wisdom. Michael Kerr.
Excellent PSA.
What fancy days is it today?
Today is Turn Beauty Inside Out Day, which I think is to remind us that beauty is on the inside, which is important to remember when, we have Sunjay here, and World Telecommunication Day.
Wow.
Nothing too terribly fun.
You know what we can do to celebrate? We should all get on a Zoom call.
There you go.
Done.
We have people from all over the world here. Telecommunication Day.
Exactly.
All right, Jacques de Mundo, as the Fonz would say.
Fonz, what's that?
The Fonz. Oh yeah. Bite me. You're old enough to remember.
I watched Happy Days. Back off.
I know.
I even did the Fonzie strut when I walked.
You mean you don't anymore?
I have an electric scooter.
Hey, so welcome everyone. We thought, even though it might be a tad early, but not really, there's a long weekend coming up this weekend in Canada. Following weekend, a long weekend in the United States of America. It is coming up to the summer season. Most of us are starting to have our first taste of warm, if not hot weather. So we thought, just for a more of a fun, light topic, we would talk about things to do in your workplace during this hot season, during the summer season, especially when things tend to be, for a lot of, I know not for everybody, but for a lot of workplaces, things sometimes tend to be a little slower paced at summer, a little more relaxed in summer. So anything and everything summer related, we wanted to talk about how to bring more fun into the workplace during the summer, maybe create some specific summer theme days, maybe talk about summer vacations and how that relates to your culture. What else could we talk about, Sunjay?
Well, I do want to point out that for years in the speaking world, and I don't know if you found the same thing, but my two busiest months have consistently been May and September.
May and October for me.
Okay, and I think it's very similar for the same reason. But people have asked me, why is that? I used to go, oh, I don't know. And then I kind of think about it, and I realize it all has to do with kids in summer. So I think what happens is around May, people go, oh no, the summer is coming. We got to do something while everyone's still here. And then they would have an event or run a conference, and then I'd get to go as a speaker. And then September would come, and it was like, oh no, kids are back in school. We got to do something. And hence September, October being busy again. So I think that there's a whole economic cycle that works around this whole summer.
For sure. I think regardless of kids, it's just weather related too, right? Like, especially I think there's probably more meetings that happen in the United States during the summer and in some other places than in Canada. And I've always thought that's because, hey, summers are especially precious in Canada. They're a little shorter than many places in the world. So nobody wants to meet in the summertime, right? I mean, there's way less meetings, there are way less conventions.
And to that point, people around where I live, the month of August is just drop dead gorgeous. Just beautiful, beautiful. Usually the bugs are gone and it's not smoking hot. It's just beautiful. And I've always wondered why people would choose to vacate in August when it's so beautiful. But they're not leaving for the weather, they're leaving because of time schedule.
Right.
So all that to say that the summer, we're talking about things to do when the weather's nicer to improve the organizational work culture. And that's the premise being that it is real. For some people, fewer, I would say overall, it gets busier, but I think that for most, it's a little more laid back, a little more relaxed. So there's more of an opportunity to be a little more creative and think outside the box and be a little silly.
Yeah. Yeah. And on that note, and I love, speaking of that, Yvette has kicked us off here, starting in May, right, with hot brownies and ice cream after lunch. Great way to start the peak season, right? So things like that, I know some of my clients do, and some of them do them every week. They do a Friday afternoon Sunday bar where they have all these different toppings, or they even have Sunday making contests to make the most creative Sundays, or they have the senior leadership team dole out ice cream treats or sundaes for the employees as a summary kind of thing to do.
Why would they have Sunday on Friday?
Oh, don't be all punny on me. I can't take your punishment.
And along that same line, I've heard of organizations doing that too, where they hire an ice cream truck to come. And they ring the bell and stuff, and it's nostalgia for some. And
do you remember that, hearing the bell as a kid? Oh, that was the best.
It was until I used to always ask my parents. I say, hey, the ice cream truck's coming, and they told me, no, when it rings its bell, it means it's out of ice cream. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
No, the bell ring. No, that's the broccoli truck coming by.
Exactly.
It's not the ice cream truck. The ice cream truck has a horn.
I was psychologically tortured.
I bet you were. And not just ice cream trucks. I know some companies too that do this during the summer. And again, it feels like a more summery thing to do, where they arrange to have food trucks come to their parking lot. And they're supporting local businesses, they're supporting local food trucks, and it just makes it a fun, different, laid back way to connect with people and have lunch out in your parking lot, and maybe have a sample of a few different food trucks. I think that's an awesome idea.
Along the same lines of trying to get people involved and being fun and with the weather, is even now it's not quite summer, but given if you're a sports fan, you have the hockey playoffs and you have the basketball playoffs, doing something fun with the pools, like a playoff pool.
Oh, so playoff pool.
Say that again.
I thought we were going to talk about swimming pools, like taking everyone swimming.
Swimming
pool.
In a swimming pool?
In a swimming
pool. When days are hot?
It's because it's hot.
When days are cool?
Yes.
Cool. Sorry. But what you can do that, you can do it on all kinds of different levels, right? And it could just be for bragging rights, or people can throw in money, or winner gets a spa treatment, or a work from home for an afternoon, or that kind of thing. It's not quite the same thing, but similar. With there were 16 teams in the NHL playoffs, and me and my 3 boys, so the 4 of us each got 4 teams. And so the idea is eventually we'll be left with 1, and whoever wins gets to pick out where we're doing takeout. And unfortunately, my eldest, and I've been doing this with him for years, when he had nothing, he knew nothing about any of the teams, but he would just pick them based on either he's heard of the city or he liked the logo. And every year he crushes me. And so
there's better ways to pick than that?
That's all he needs. And so this year there are 4 teams left, and he has 3 of the 4 teams. He started off with 4, only one's been eliminated. So we are cursing and swearing him because he's going to make us the takeout. So
hey, anyway. Speaking of food too, lemonade stands is did you ever do that as a kid, Sunjay?
I did not. It's not true. I actually used to give away the lemonade for free, but I would charge $5 for the antidote. Sorry,
I grew up in Penticton, British Columbia, a very summery place between 2 lakes, hot, one of the hottest parts of Canada. And when I was growing up, we were in a new neighborhood, so there was a ton of construction. So my best friend and I, we would make lemonade stands on my little red wagon. This was a money maker, and we would tow the wagon to all the construction sites. And of course, who's not going to come out and buy lemonade from 2 adorable 6-year-old kids?
Did you hire other kids to do that?
We did. We outsourced some of the jobs. We paid them like 5 cents, and we would take 98% of the profits. It's
smart, because especially too for the adorable piece, because you didn't have that filled. So I could see how you had to outsource that.
But anyways, so lemonade stands. So something you could do in the workplace. And I've seen this done in a few workplaces where they have lemonade stands to raise money for charity, and they do it throughout the summer for their favorite charity, where they raise money for their social committee, or where they even have a contest where they pit teams against one another, departments against one another, to see who can raise the most money via their lemonade stands. And then they really get into the marketing of it, into the ingredients of it, making these really cool lemonade stands, and it's just a fun, goofy way. We're talking a lot about food.
I know. I was going to actually make that comment too, but it does really evolve around food, and I try to eat usually daily, and so there. But this notion you're talking about, this healthy competition, whether it be lemonade stands or a chili cook-off, which I've seen, or a barbecue, or when you can create that fun, but trash talky, brotherly, sisterly relationship, it does wonders for the organizational culture, right? Sure. When people feel, sometimes, because some people, they want to be coddled and others want to be challenged. Some people want to be flattered and others want to be poked. And so you want to try to create different forms for different people to speak whatever language that is. And again, creating healthy competition, this is why the playoffs are so exciting for any sport, or the World Cup or Olympics. It's that idea of healthy competition when there's an underlying value of respect, right? Sure. So even if you lose, and that's one of the things I actually love about playoffs for most sports. I think they're ridiculous. They get overly competitive and they're a bit barbaric. But then when it's all said and done and one team loses, they all like high five each other and give each other hugs and go, "Oh, I love you. You're the best." I love that sort of sense of camaraderie. And again, you don't want to replicate that, but you want to use the same element to try to bring that to the workplace. So have a healthy sense of competition, that whoever wins or loses, everyone wins because you're raising money for charity in a lemonade stand, or everyone's belly is full because it was some good chili or whatever.
Yeah. And as long as you say, keep it in a spirit of fun. And that's the most important thing, right? Because you don't want it to cross that line. And I've seen people do, even with sales department, where they have competitions for different goals, different milestones for sales. And I think where it can get dangerous is if you make the payoff, if you make the rewards, and some companies certainly do this, you get financial bonuses tied to certain targets, or you get some amazing sort of prize. I think that can be fine, but that can also be a little dangerous, where you slide over across that line of it just being in the spirit of fun and getting a little too competitive, where you start to lose sight of things. So I like the sales guys who come up with these sales teams, sales women. I caught myself there, to make sure they're doing it in a spirit of fun, where the rewards are truly fun. They're not all that serious. It's more about the badge of honor, or it's doing goofy things, or it's or the things. And I've seen this done very creatively, where you're penalized, but in a fun way, for not doing something. Like, oh, you have to sing a Celine Dion song in front of everybody because you did not reach your goal, whatever it is.
I think there's a time and a place. I do believe that you want to have legit, real incentives where you can go on the cruise or whatever. You go get a week's vacation, that kind of thing. I actually think those incentives speak to certain people's values, and it will really drive them. I think, though, that there's also a time and a place where, yes, the big award is you wear the cheese hat, because that's, we built that up and we marketed it. I mean, that's really what it is. It's a game of marketing, and trying to say, this is for dignity, this is for the bragging rights, this is for the street cred within the organization. And it doesn't necessarily have to be tied financially. It could be the Olympics, the in-workhouse Olympics. In-house, this is a great summer one too. Speaking of in-house Olympics, in-house mini golf tournaments. Nice. Do they physically set it up in the workplace?
Oh yeah. And I was just reading about one yesterday where it's set, and they take this very seriously. And so their clients who come to the office, they are invited to play. Their sales reps, anybody coming, and partners, all play. And it's like, it sounds like it takes up the entire building, like every floor. They get really serious about it, and it's there for the entire summer.
You say that, and it reminds me of, I think you're a fan of Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Oh yeah, I love Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
right? So you know what they did, the Halloween heist,
Right.
right? And for those who aren't familiar with it, Brooklyn Nine-Nine, a sitcom, it's a police precinct, and every Halloween they have this competition where they split up either into teams or individually, and they're all trying to steal something, and everyone knows about it. But this is exactly the kind of allure, the kind of energy we're trying to create. And they have a lot of fun with it. There's twists and turns, and there's allies and stabbing people in the back, and you're on this person's team and then someone else's team. And it's all done in fun, and it's all about what's the actual prize? I can't even remember what it is.
Oh, it's bragging rights. It's like that you're the, I forget what it does, world's most genius detective something slash, I don't know what it is, but it's essentially just bragging rights, right?
Right. And but there's what it is. It's the, and they all get right into it, and it's about the bragging rights. And the reason it's about the bragging rights is because they make it about the bragging rights. And it's not, the money, and it's not the trophy, or sometimes it is. It's just getting your name up there. I was in a poker tournament, and there's a trophy for it. And I was the chip leader by far. There's like 150 people in this, and I was the chip leader by far, and it was getting late and I was tired. So we had about 7 or 8 people left in the tournament. And I said, I'll tell you what, we'll split the money evenly, which ended up costing me about $1,000. But I said, but my name gets on the trophy. And everyone agreed because they got more money. So, you know what I'm saying? Depending on the person's values, it's not always about the money. It could be about the bragging rights. It could be about the time. It could be about the recognition. And whatever we do, what we want to do is try to hit up on multiple facets of that, because some people prefer one over the other.
Yeah, for sure. And by the way, if you haven't watched Brooklyn Nine-Nine, watch Brooklyn Nine-Nine. The best episode of every season is the Halloween heist episode. It's the one everybody
absolutely is. And by the way, if you haven't watched Brooklyn Nine-Nine, that in fact is your homework.
That is your homework. Yes. If
and
you
again,
watch the entire series before next every other Wednesday, we would appreciate that. That would
by tomorrow, in fact, you have to.
And by the way, the show does a really brilliant job of tackling social issues too, in a smart way, and funny way. So that's very cool.
It is
now, just before we leave that thought though on competition, I do want to remind us all that we sometimes have to be careful, because we know from some studies that putting external rewards on certain things can actually dampen behavior. That we know the most powerful motivator is always going to be those intrinsic motivational things that drive us internally. And so there are situations where you can actually reduce motivation by planting too big a carrot, an external carrot for people.
And also along that same lines, as a caveat, we also know that some people, getting them competitive is fun and exciting.
Yeah.
And there's other jackasses that when they get too competitive, you want to strangle them. And so sometimes if you can, you want to work that into the game. What I mean by that is I was a camp director many years ago. That's what the example that jumps into my head. And it was a leadership camp for student council kids. And these kids ran dances and all this stuff. And so I had this group, and this one girl, she was chatty Cathy, like woo, 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 lots of energy, lots of attention. And so we did a role-playing exercise. And I gave them each an agenda. Like this person was trying to get the dance on this particular day, and this person wanted to hire this DJ company. And I gave this one role, which was be noticeably silent. I gave it to this girl, and she was, apparently, I found out afterwards, she was the dance committee person for her school. And so she told me afterwards that it was the hardest thing she ever had to do. So sometimes helping people overcome some issues they have by even pulling them aside and going, I need your help on this. I know you're super competitive, and I know that you would probably win this thing, but do you think you can help us bring some of these other people out? And we can engage those people on a different level that still gets them involved, but it doesn't let them win the whole damn thing.
Right.
I'm thinking of caps and points at our conventions. Yes. We have a handful of people. So
yeah, very competitive.
Absolutely. So Michael Kerr and I are part of an association, and they do, what do they call the points? They're called,
I don't know, just points. I don't know.
Anyways, you get points for like going to sessions or asking questions or
all these different ways to collect points throughout the 3-day convention.
And every year it's the same, like 3 people that always win. And so, how do we engage other people? It's getting to the point that Other people are like, who are not in the top three, are like, why even bother?
Yeah.
So how do we still engage those people? And at the upfront, you don't need to worry about it because people will play. But if you start finding that it gets too monotonous, feel free to change it up and engage those people because they want to be play and they want the attention, and they want to be part of something, but maybe give them a different role.
Yeah. Let's get, okay, thanks for that, Sanjay. Let's get back to summer, and let's just see if we can rifle off just a whack of ideas for people to think about during the summer. And look at that. Frederick said they're having an ice cream sandwich truck visit tomorrow. Lucky people.
Please send me one.
Goodness.
By the way,
yes,
I
and
believe
please,
that ice cream sandwiches are best, and you're going to think I'm weird, but don't mock it until you try it. They are best eaten with a fork.
I can see you doing that. I already think you're weird, so that didn't change my opinion of you. A knife and a fork, like
No, don't be weird. Fork.
Don't make this weird. Company day at the Jays game. Yeah, that's a perfect kind of summer thing to do. So Sunjay, let's just do an idea dump here and talk about things like, okay, this is very cliche and traditional, but still it's something to do in the summer. You have the old cliche tacky Hawaiian shirt theme day and contest for whoever dresses as the most tacky tourist or the most Hawaii summery person.
Magnum PI.
Yeah.
See, I made a Magnum PI reference. That's right around Happy Days.
It is. Okay, a little later than Happy Days, but fine. We'll accept it. Ideas. We want your ideas, Sunday.
What about a watermelon? Well, this is hard, but a watermelon seed spitting contest, because all the watermelons are genetically modified and they don't have seeds anymore. But if you can find yourself a good watermelon, away you go.
See, that's an awesome idea. Okay, one of my clients, they do this just during the summer months because it works for the number of employees that they have too. The math kind of works. I think they started on the May long weekend actually, where they do fishbowl Fridays. Everybody's name goes into a fishbowl, draw a name, that person gets released from the fishbowl an hour early on Friday. And then that person's name stays out of the fishbowl, so they cycle through. So everybody gets a crack at it eventually of just getting their day where they get to be released an hour early.
Thanks. What about a big honking, what's the word I'm looking for? A big honking scavenger hunt.
A what?
A scavenger hunt.
Oh,
so
a
you
scavenger hunt.
A list.
Yeah.
You got to get a pine cone and 13 pennies and I don't know, find a picture of a license plate that has an X in it or whatever, and you just let them go, and using the physical grounds that you have. Again, the weather being good, so going in and out becomes easier.
Yeah. All right. So on that note too, field trips. Summer is the perfect time for a field trip. Either holding your meeting in just taking your meeting outside for a change of scenery, for a change of perspective. Going to a park, going to the zoo, having it in your even in your back, just property there, just something different to get people out and you get that different perspective. Or doing like a scavenger hunt, but an idea field trip where people go with a mission for a couple hours. And this can be very, very effective actually, where people, an inspiration hunt, I call them, where people just go to look for inspiration from other businesses in your neighborhood. They go into local properties, they take photos of signs, they interact with different businesses to see their customer experience, and they bring back these very cool ideas. And it's just a different way to generate some ideas for your business. And summer is the perfect time to do that. Perfect.
What about a little mini indoor carnival? So you bring in a tarot card reader and a handwriting analysis reader and a fortune teller or a psychic. Yes, and you just have little stations, and then during a lunch or take a half day and people, because some people are not into that and other people think it's a lot of fun. Some people sip the Kool-Aid, some people gulp the Kool-Aid, and some people are allergic to the Kool-Aid.
Allergic to the Kool-Aid. I like that. I know. I got one. A Ferris Bueller's Day Off contest. Perfect for the summer, where people have to submit what their ideal Ferris Bueller's day would be if they had a day to play rookie. This is what they would do with their day, and then you get all the employees to vote on it. Can't just be the boss or the senior. You got to get everybody to vote on this. Okay, who has the coolest idea for what they would do if they got a day of hooky?
Nice. Connie does mini Olympics. at our company picnic, relay pushing a person in a wheelbarrow, awesome, obstacle course, pie eating contest. Yeah, I mean, all those things, I know they're cliche and they seem like, oh, it's not that great or whatever. They're brilliantly creative because if they engage people, you know, they love it. I remember going to my dad's company picnics and they had a hot air balloon. I got to go on a hot air balloon.
Yeah.
Right. And this, you know, all these years later, 40 plus years later, I'm still going, wow, I remember that. It's really cool. What about an employee appreciation? So you bring in like a spa day. So you have some massage chairs or you have some masseuse type or RMTs come in and, you know, people can, again, spend a half an hour or an hour and be appreciated.
Yeah. Yeah. Summer's a perfect time for that. What about combining things with people? Because a lot of people take their vacation time during the summer. So what about some fun things related to that? What if, you know, if you have a smaller team, what if somebody's gone on a really cool trip or maybe their honeymoon or something special, and you go greet them at the airport with signs and you make it kind of a big deal?
I actually did that one time. I went to pick my parents up from the airport. This is a long time. It was pre-cell phones. And so they didn't know I was, they asked me to pick them up. And so I went there and their flight was delayed. So they didn't know if I was going to be there, but I dressed up in a tuxedo and I held a sign that said Nath, but I spelled their name wrong on purpose and I stood there. So, you know, again, it's having fun. In fact, I did something similar to you once.
I was just going to say, I remember that in Montreal, you had you looked like my Uber driver waiting for me.
There you go.
You had sunglasses on and a little digital sign.
The Kerr, exactly.
With my name on it. I've had friends greet me with signs saying, you know, welcome out of jail.
I've had ones that say, please go back. What about a potluck dinner or meal? You know, everyone, potluck Friday. So everyone brings in a dish for 20 people or depending on the size of your workplace. And, you know, you have a smorgasbord.
Yeah. Now, love it. Because again, it's food, right? You know, I have a friend, Larry, who was a manager. At a certain point in his life, he was a senior manager. He said, I've established a new rule for myself about going to meetings. The 2 F's have to be involved before I go to a meeting. Has to be fun and there has to be food. If there's fun and food promised, I'm at the meeting.
You know what the most amazing thing about that story you just told was that you have a friend.
I know, right?
There you go. That's another F word. And I have another F word for you, but we can't say it on every other Wednesday. What about not food related? Ready for one that's not
I'm ready. I'm ready. I'm bracing.
Have your mind blown. What about something as simple as an open house?
What about an open house?
Invite family members or friends or even potential recruits or potential employees to kind of go, hey, this is what we're all about. Come and see what we do. And
your children, it's a great time to
and piggybacking too, like you're saying with the mini putt course, you know, if you could involve an activity with it, not just, okay, come here, but we're doing something like any of these other ideas we had, whether it's the chili contest or the watermelon seeds or whatever it is, and invite other people externally as well.
Yes, invite them to clean your house. That's an excellent idea, Jeremy.
Ooh, I like it.
And food trucks again. Oh my God, yeah, there's so much. Hey, what about, I like this idea too. We have to think about the end of summer too, in that transition period, right? Because a lot of people, for some people, it's kind of like, oh, summers is just, a lot of people live for their summers, right? And then it feels like you got to go back to school, kind of, you know, things get more serious, work maybe gets a little busy. So having something to kind of, I think, transition there, something to celebrate the kickoff to the fall, to make it more positive, but also reflect on the summer, you know, doing something fun where people bring in their best 3 photos from their summer to highlight what they did this summer.
A reflection piece, beautiful.
Yeah.
And how about things along the lines of that are actually a little more serious and not necessarily just all fun? Like, for example, putting together a softball team or an ultimate frisbee team that's based on work.
Are you saying those things should not be fun? I want to have fun if I'm playing.
No, but I'm saying they're more serious. They're not like just, you know, watermelon seeds. Like it's a little more involved than that.
What about a water gun fight? I just read about a company that does this every summer. They do water gun fights out in their
or Nerf guns along the same line. Yeah. That's
hey, so you're
sorry. I'm going to say one more along that sort of exercise piece, because I've heard of organizations doing this too, where they give people a bunch of Fitbits, and there's a big challenge around, you know, get your 10,000 steps a day, and this is from a health and wellness perspective, and then they highlight, every week they're kind of touching base going, hey, these people hit their 10,000 steps, and it get a bit of accountability, but it's not like, hey, we have to go pump iron for 17 hours a day, but it's just little bite-sized goals to help people get into better shape. And
love it.
Summer, we just are generally more active.
Yeah. Well, and summer is also then a good time to do a challenge, do a walk or bike to work challenge, and see how many of your employees, what percentage of your employees will walk and or work. Let's see, we've got some comments here. Michelle, always so good to see you.
You didn't see her. Why would you lie?
I see her name, and it just makes me smile to see your name, Sunjay. Okay, don't be
so literal with me.
Don't be so literal. Cook-offs, yeah. Again, write the food. It's just.
But and again, what Michelle's saying here is this idea of a big cook-off, and they get a spatula trophy and stuff. But what I love is saying the competition is fierce because people want to get their name on the trophy. Yeah. That is branding. That is beautiful. This is not $100,000 grand prize. This is name on the spatula.
Yeah.
And the bragging rights. And those are the best ways to adhere people to an idea, is because it's not about the extrinsic value, it's the intrinsic value of the reward that really drives people.
And then what I love about that too is just even something like a spatula, which is a goofy sounding word, but turning that into a shorthand version of something that's fun and epic, like the race for the golden spatula, right? And that becomes the whole thing, the holy spatula.
Yep.
Indoor cornhole tournament. Thank you, Karen.
I love it.
To ease the stress during tax season. Sick Kids Hospital. Thank you, Yvette. Put together baseball teams to raise funds for the hospital. Again, great time of year, I think, to do a lot of fundraising, right? Where you can get outside and do some fun, interesting, creative things. And volleyball tournaments. I love it.
Sorry, I just want you to know, Michelle wrote here, I know what you meant. You guys bring joy to me. And that's what she wrote publicly, but she sent a private message to me saying that really I only bring her joy, not you, but she was just being polite. So,
well, she sent me a private message telling me she sent you that message, and she sent it to you just so that you didn't feel bad in case I read my message that she sent privately to me. So
are we really going to go there?
Yeah, I think we are. Hey, what about, okay, on a more serious note, and again, depending on your organization, this just isn't an option, right? Depending on the nature of your business. However, there are more and more businesses, I would say, and I was just reading an article about the trend on this, that during summer, they shift to a 4-day work week. They can't necessarily the rest of the year, but for summer, it's a nice, beautiful perk for employees to just have that 4-day work week.
For sure.
And or, if you can swing it, right? Summer, I think, again, from a culture point of view, we know how much employees value just the option of having flexible work schedules, of being just a little more flexible with their time. And summer is especially a time, I think, if you can give employees a little more creative freedom, a little more flexibility with their schedules, whether it's the time of day they come in and work, how they shift those hours, or the days, that is huge for people.
Sure. Yeah, there we see there's 11 weeks of 4-day work week.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
And if you follow the Tim Ferriss approach, it's the 4-hour work week.
4 hour, yeah. I'm writing one down. I'm getting it down to 2 hours.
Well, that's because you're
trying to undercut him.
Yeah, you're twice as good as the average bear. A couple of, and this was mentioned earlier about people going to a Jays game. So I'm actually taking both my FedEx managers on to a Jays game on Sunday.
Oh, awesome! Good,
because they're both Jays fans, as am I. So that works out well. But it could be a baseball game or a football game or really anything.
Can it be a tennis match?
No, because then you get whiplash.
Okay, so just football or baseball.
Yeah, football.
Cricket match.
Football, you can do either football. You can do American football or real football. Either or works.
Right.
What about, again, volunteering for Habitat for Humanity? You grab a bunch of people or you can go paint a fence or do a clean or anything like that, where again, you're getting people together in a non-work setting and helping others. You'll find that a lot of times a different side of a person shows up.
Yeah.
Because they're stressed about the work or they're feeling judged or under a microscope, and then all of a sudden you get them to drop their shoulders and you see a whole different side of them.
Well, and it's a huge motivator. Again, I was just reading the same book I was reading about the other thing I talked about earlier, whatever that was, yesterday, about how motivating, inspiring it is to work in organizations that do charity work, that do volunteer work, and how more and more people are expecting and hoping to do that, tied to their jobs, tied to their companies. So
absolutely. In fact, that's why I hang out with you. It's all charity work. What about a karaoke lunch?
what about it, Sanjay?
Uh-oh. My kid's school is calling. That's not good.
Oh, do you have to put your, just put them on speakerphone.
Oh,
We can give you
yeah.
some advice. Do you need to get it? You probably need to get
No,
it.
I probably should get it, but I'm
You
not.
probably should. Do you want to
They're
go
going
on
to leave me
mute?
a message, and I'll call them back.
All right. Well,
That's what happens with live Zoom calls.
we're almost done.
Yeah,
You can call
you
them
were
back.
you were done a while ago.
I'm sure it's nothing.
Oh, you know what? But these days they call for everything. They
call
to say that he scraped his knee. We had to put a Band-Aid on it, but we're required to call. So like,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
So, anyways, yeah, we're talking karaoke. Again, karaoke can be done to demonstrate, your speaking or your singing abilities, or it could be done as to embarrass, or it could be done as
Embarrass and
fun, or as a
humiliate your
competition,
colleagues.
or-
That's always fun.
yeah, no, embarrassing is good.
Yeah. Well, okay. And on that note, summer, I think, is a great time to support your local artists. Support your local artists, and whether it's musicians, whether it's painters, whatever, but bringing them into your workplace. And you have people, just like you see buskers out on the street in summertime, have buskers in your office, buskers in your parking lot, greeting people when you come into work. There's some really cool creative stuff you can do around that.
And along the lines of buskers is go internally for your people, and rather than getting them to busk, but have a stupid human talent contest.
Yeah.
Which
yeah.
I think is a scream, because sometimes people, they're double jointed, or they do this weird sound, or they have this ability to do whatever.
Or they look like they can do impersonations of Jeff Goldblum.
But I don't.
You don't.
No, I'm going there.
You don't have your glasses. Oh,
I found them. They're here. They're here.
Okay. Okay. Quick, can we see it quickly? Time's running out.
No, because then I have to not laugh. Ready? My Jeff Goldblum impersonation.
Jeff Goldblum, ladies and gentlemen, there it is. Brilliant. Jeff Gold. That's just
nailed it again. I actually do a good Droopy. Do you remember Droopy, the little cartoon dog?
Yes.
He knows what.
Yeah.
It makes me mad.
There you go. Okay, speaking of goofy things like stupid human contests, here's a good summer one that's just I like. Summer is the time to be more silly, I think, right? In fact, there is an international silly theme day somewhere. I think it's in the summer. But have you heard of stealth disco? This used to be a way bigger thing about 10 years ago, but it's still a perfect thing to do in summer. So what you do, you engage a colleague in
disco was a big thing about 40 years ago.
Yeah, no. That's what makes it so much fun now. You engage a colleague in conversation, probably bonus points if it's your boss, and then someone secretly dances disco behind the person without them knowing it, while somebody else videotapes the thing, and then you create a little montage video, and it's very adorable. It may not sound adorable vis-a-vis my explanation, but it's very adorable. It's very goofy.
Ferris Bueller's Day Off came off, I want to say in 85 is when it came out. So what would that make it? 38 years old.
85
or 86.
Oh, we have to Google this.
When did Ferris Bueller's Day Off open?
I'm a big somebody look this up. Ferris Bueller.
1986.
I was gonna say 86.
Co-produced and
okay,
directed by
Google.
John Hughes.
Stop. Jeez.
Was that Siri? Was that Alexa? Who was that?
You know when I said okay, GOOGLE?
Oh yeah.
I don't want to say it again.
Can I help you?
It can't read yet. So.
Oh, nothing frightening about the world we live in. Hey, hey, we're almost running out of time. Any other brilliant ideas, Sanjay?
Yes, yoga Fridays.
Yoga Fridays.
Yeah, so you just have someone come in and do a yoga lesson, or an aerobics, or a stretching, or a physical fitness kind of thing.
Yo-yo training.
Yo-yo training. Sorry, yoga pants Friday.
Yo-yo training, kite flying. So, okay, speaking of Fridays, Sanjay, too, summer is a great time. If you don't do this all year round, then at least do it during the summer, where you do a Friday afternoon huddle, team huddle, to celebrate the week that was. Everybody celebrate their top 3 wins. You maybe you have a goofy contest, maybe you know, but just keep it light and fun, and give folks something to look forward to on those Friday afternoons, because we know how, you know, in summer, right? Don't Friday afternoons have just a special feeling, especially during the summer? They're even more Friday afternoony.
Yeah, I agree. And it's to piggyback off that piece of reflection, because let's look back what worked, and not only just for the week, but for the summer or any of these activities that are working. That idea of self-evaluation is how we move forward, correct the behavior or learn from it, add to it, and make it even mucher moving forward. Mucher is a technical term.
Mucher. I'm missing. Oh, so Carol said, I'm trying to see whether, oh, you just sent this to the host.
Yes.
Did I say it then?
You know what? I miss having all 4 of you for hosts. Yes, we do as well. And it just so happens like next every other Wednesday, Mike and I are not here.
But I'm trying to think, is she slamming us, Sanjay? Because she's kind of like at the end of the show, and then she's like, kind of sucks not having the 4 of you here, just the 2 viewers.
You're reading a lot into this, but like your therapist says, it's okay. Don't worry about it. That's
I'll try not to take it too personally.
Yeah, and again, I won't tell you the private message that Carol sent me about you, but we won't go there.
We miss them too. And sadly,
with every bullet so far, we miss them.
Yeah. But at least you had us. We have to wrap up. So thank you, everyone. I hope you Canada this week, US next week.
Yes.
For long weekends. Yes.
No, because Jeff and Richard are Americans and we're Canadians.
Right. We're flipping
do we have
back
to
and
spoon
forth.
feed you on this? Good Lord.
You kind of do.
That's I am. There we go.
What?
All right. So next.
Every other Wednesday is, does anyone know? It is. That's
31st.
right. It's the end of May 31st, or as some people call it, May 31st.
Correct.
Is our every other Wednesday, same time, same place. Who knows which 4 of us? Well, I know I'm speaking at the time. Come and see me speak. If you can't make every other Wednesday, I'll be speaking in beautiful Calgary, Alberta. Just drop.
And if you want to see a good speaker, you come see me speak, because I'll be speaking.
Will you be speaking too? Yeah.
I'm
if you want to see a great speaker, come and see me speak in Calgary. But we're very excited because we do have a special guest next.
Donna Cutting.
May 31st. Donna Cutting. Yes, she is the author of Employees First. I think, pretty good description of what she's going to be talking about, the importance of putting employees first, which is something we certainly talk about all the time at every other Wednesday when we talk about culture, and the relationship between happy employees and happy customers and success. So you don't want to miss that. Donna Cutting, she's going to be a fabulous guest host for every other Wednesday. So mark your calendars now.
Excellent, folks. Thank you very much for spending the time. Hope you got some ideas. Hope this summer is fantastic and full of energy and life-changing organizational behavior uppitness.
Uppitness?
It sounded fancy. So
we hope you have lots of this. This is me doing the happy dance in my chair, which I can't.
The Zoom happy dance.
It's the Zoom dance. Thank you, everybody. And yes, for the Canadians, happy long weekend to everyone.
And happy long weekend to the Americans later.
A week later.
Yeah, because they're behind us.
They're always behind. They're always a little behind.
I know the July 1st, we have July 1st, they have July 4th. Our Thanksgiving is first.
I know.
Our Super Bowl.
We're always ahead of them. It's embarrassing.
Okay, enough.
All right.
This is the B-roll at the end of the show. We're gonna have to go.
Bye, Sanjay.
Bye, folks.
Bye, Sanjay. I'm gonna miss you.